Good morning. Welcome to my first episode of FPL Off-Template. Hope you're all good and keeping well. This channel is all about finding those differential players that everyone overlooks. We all do it, but we always go for that template. We always think if we go for the template, we're going to be at least level. We're not here to copy the template. It's about trying to get ahead of it. You fed up with mid-table mini-league finishes? Want to be up there top challenging? Like and subscribe. Yesterday was FPL launch day. This is my first reaction. When I first looked at it, I was like, Haaland 15.5 million. Wow. But then last year, everyone was trying to get Salah and Haaland in their team. So I feel now there's only one of those in Haaland, and it just makes it easier to fit him in. I know I'm not about differentials, going against the template, but how many players do we actually need to go against the template? 3, 4, 2 even. Just 2 players. If they produce the week you get them in, it's a massive haul. You go up a number of places just by picking the right 2 players. I know it's difficult, but that's what makes the game brilliant. 15.5 million for Haaland, I think it's a no-brainer. How he was in the World Cup, I think he's going to come into this season all guns blazing. I'm looking at Chelsea's team. I think they'll do good this year. And then my pick for the Premiership title. In Alonso, they've got a great manager. And then you look at the likes of Rodgers, 7.5 million. Pedro, 7.5 million. Palmer, a refreshed Palmer, 9.5 million. Along with their defence, Colwell, 5 million. That is a bargain. Then I'm looking at Arsenal's defence. With Saliba out, Mosquera. He's going to be in everyone's team. And do you blame him? Nope. Arsenal guaranteed points, first game of the season, Coventry. Wow. Great buy. I think Arsenal's defence is going to be a popular pick. Raya, most expensive goalkeeper. He'll be picked by a lot. Me personally, I'm going to go looking for Pickford. I think Everton have got a great start to the fixture list. And Dubravka, who's gone to Tottenham, I think he could pinch number 1 spot. 4 million. It's great to have on the bench. You never know. New manager. Was it 8 new managers this year? We just don't know what they're going to do. Would you take a chance on the new managers? Or see how they get on? Me personally, might choose 1 or 2 of the players. Like Solanke, for instance. 6 million for the Tottenham forward. If he produces what he did at Bournemouth, and he ain't got much competition at the moment. We don't know, right now who they're going to buy, but they spent a lot of money. So they might be thinking Solanke's going to be put up front and stay up front. I can't see Richarlison, challenging him too much. As long as he stays fit, Solanke, he would also take penalties. Good shout. I've looked at it and I thought, there's some expensive players. Semenyo, 8.5 million. Gabriel, 8 million. Isaac, 9 million. Isaac's a good player. When he was at Newcastle, fantastic. But is he going to deliver at Liverpool? Is he fit? If he is, great pick. But 9 million, and he's not trusted at the moment. And then we've got Bruno, 12 million. Wow, 3 million more than last year. But he got all them assists. Of course, you've got to be looking at Bruno. I like Bruno. Tempted penalties, makes the goals, scores goals. But he won't be in my first draft, that's for sure. Later on in his podcast, I'll read out my first draft. And then we've got players like Rice and Saka, 9.5 million and 7.5 million. Great players. But are they fit? You know, we've got to look at the World Cup players. You know, the players that went later on into the tournament, are they going to be rested for the first few games? By jumping in at the deep end, are you risking players that ain't going to make 90 minutes? We'll have to see what happens. I think Saka and Rice are wait and sees. Then you look at the Arsenal forwards. Gyökeres and Havertz. 7.5 million both. Problem is, what one starts? Because I think they're both a bargain. I love Havertz. But is he a goal machine? But what one starts? If you can find out when one starts, you'd definitely put him in your team, surely. Kruger Jr. at Bournemouth. He's gone down to midfield. 7.5 million for a midfielder who was 4.5 million as a striker. Talent. Absolute talented. Is he going to start at Bournemouth? Right now, I don't think I'll be picking him as a midfielder for 7.5 million. But you're saying that, you get an extra point for midfielder scoring a goal. Taking that into consideration, but is it worth the 3 million difference from last year? But then you're losing Salah, so you're saving yourself 14 million there to spread around your team. Imagine Firth, full season for Liverpool, no injuries, 7.5 million. That's a great pick. He will be in my first draft, for sure. I don't think many people will have him. I think he's a decent signing for your team. So these are my great picks. I'm going to list them all for you. First, 7.5 million. Mosquera, 5.5 million. Colwell, 5 million. Dubrovka, 4 million. Gibbs White, 8 million. Spurs forward, Solanke, 6 million. Ahmed, 6 million. And Eze of Arsenal, 6.5 million. All of these are great players and differentials. They're off the template. And I think each individual there can spring a surprise. The issue is choosing what ones in what weeks can. I've not really looked and checked out many of the fixtures at the moment. I know Everton have got a good start to the season. That's why I'll probably start with Pickford in goal, although he is expensive. 5.5 million, I believe. But I think I will go for Pickford. But, you know, it's difficult, isn't it? Who are you going to go for? So this is my first draft. I've only been looking at it for an hour. So this will probably change a million times before the kickoff. So goalkeepers, as I said, Pickford, 5.5 million of Everton. And Dubrovka, 4 million of Tottenham. Then I've got Hall for Newcastle, 5 million. Brathwaite, 5.5 million of Everton. I'm taking the chance that Everton will keep a couple of clean sheets in their first few games due to their fixture list. Mosquera, 5.5 million. Colwell, 5 million. And Guardiola, 5.5 million. Now, there's a great player in Man City. Man City are going to want to get their title back. And Guardiola didn't play much last season, so he's quite refreshed after the World Cup, considering they went out early. And he does find a net. Bargain pick, I believe. The midfield, I've gone for Wirtz, 7.5 million. A refreshed Foden, 7 million. A refreshed Palmer, 9.5 million. Eze, 6.5 million. And Ahmed of Manchester United, 6 million. He had a great World Cup with Ivory Coast. Scored one of the goals of the tournament, I believe. I reckon he could be one of the standout players at the first part of the season. And up top, gone for that Solanke, 6 million at Tottenham. The main man, Haaland, 15.5 million. And Jorginho Rutter, 5.5 million. And the reason I've gone for Rutter is the back end of last season, he was phenomenal. Banging goals in left, right and centre. I've not seen much of pre-season for any of the clubs, as I've just got over the World Cup. And to be honest with you, I want to take it easy a little bit. But I'm thinking that Rutter could bring a few surprises this season. So what I'm planning to do each week, as my name suggests, I will do my top 3 off-template picks. And each week I will give 3, 2, 1 to who I think is the best off-template picks for that individual game week, who could get you the points to fly above your friends and family in your mini leagues. So my first impressions, in third place for the off-template picks for game week 1 is Ahmed of Manchester United. He's quick, he can make goals, and he knows where the net is. In 2 is Jorginho Rutter. As I explained earlier, the back end of last season, he was phenomenal. Brighton are a good team, and under that manager, he's got them playing brilliantly. I believe he could be one of the standouts of the season, again, if he stays at Brighton, which I think he will. And at number 1, that might surprise a few, injury depending, is Levi Colwill. As I said, I believe Chelsea, I'm a tip for the season. Have a half-decent start to the season. And clean sheets are a must. I do believe they should go and get a new goalkeeper. That might help Colwill. But I think he's a guaranteed starter under Alonso. And I think he is my off-template pick of game week 1. How are you feeling? Who do you think the differentials are for the first few weeks? Would you change anything? I'd love to know your thoughts. Have I missed anyone out? I could have picked Rodgers in there. And I could have picked Gibbs White in there. But I believe what I've chosen are good off-template picks. Thank you for listening. I'll do more content once a week of my off-template picks and why I've chosen and how many points I'm picking up. If all 3 do well, you'll be challenged in the top. If 2 do well, you could be challenged in the top. Because when you look at it, you don't need 11 template players. If you want to get ahead, you need to go out there. You need to be out there and take some differentials. I'm not saying all 11 players, but, 2, 3, even 4. It's a massive gap difference if a couple of them produce. I've always been one for taking hits. It helps. It might take a -8 and everyone's like, -8? But if no one's got that player and he gets a brace, brilliant. Last year, a number of times I had Gibbs White before the entire template took over. And I remember he got a hat-trick one one weekend. Who was it against? Was it Newcastle? I can't remember who it was against. Oh, Burnley, I think it was against Burnley. And it took me from, I think, 4th in the mini league up to joint top with just that one differential. I've always done it. And I had Doku as well a couple of times last year when I see Manchester City had some of the weaker teams. And I look at it and I think, is he going to produce? Is he going to be benched? Because, under Pep, it was difficult. But now they've got a new manager. He's going to play his best players. He did that at Chelsea. And he's unfairly sacked, I believe. But you've got to take risks. By taking risks in the Fantasy Premier League are rewarding. Not every week. Some weeks you might think, my goodness, Off-Template has done useless. But my aim is to get at least one of those top 3 every week as a differential producing the goods. Hope you've enjoyed what you've listened to today. Like and subscribe if you can, because every game week we'll be doing a new episode. I'll be back next week with another review after a few friendlies, seeing on fitness after the World Cup and see where the ground lies. Take care. Catch you soon.